Welcome back, everyone, to ABG Investor Days. My name is Henrik Hintze, and I'm an equity research analyst here at ABG. With me now, I have the CEO of Momentum Group, Ulf Lilius. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, we have a history more than 100 years, but I have not been with the company for 100 years. I started at SKF 1996, and I changed to our distributor, Momentum Industrial, 2002, which at that point of time, SKF owned 40%. And in 2004, we were bought by Bergman & Beving. And during the journey when they were consolidating forward, mostly then industrial supplies with the tools chain. And then in 2012, I became the CEO of Bergman & Beving. And then I started to do restructuring. And then in 2017, I did my first spin-off. And at that time, I spun off Momentum Group. And then we divided the company in the value chain. So Bergman & Beving today is the wholesaling and the product companies, and we were the reseller. At that time, our revenue was 10 billion SEK. And when we did the spin-off, I took 4.5 billion SEK in turnover. And then we built that up to 10 billion. And then we did the second split in 2022. So last year in March, so we have kind of 11 months as a company. But we are, of course, working with the old Bergman & Beving philosophy. And you will see that also when we go into our core values and financial goals. So whom are we? As I mentioned, the first split was in the value chain. The second split was in the product dimension. So Alligo today is industrial supplies, and we are industrial components and services. So we are primarily to the machine, and Alligo is to the human being. So today, when we were listed or spin-off, we had a turnover around 1.5 billion SEK. And today we have two business areas. I will go deeper into that later on. One is the components and one is the services. And of course, the foundation is Momentum Industrial with the revenue of 1.1 billion SEK. And that's why the component side is larger than the service side. But the component side doesn't mean that we don't have services. Around 10% of our turnover is services in the component side. And the service side, around 50%, is also components sales. And the background to that is that when we started Momentum Industrial in October 1997, the foundation was bearing and linear products, technical seals, and power transmission. At that time, we were located at 13 locations. Today, we are around 30 locations. And during the journey, we have grown with other products, dimensions, or product verticals. And during that period of time, we saw that there is also an opening to buy specialist companies and don't have to be integrated into Momentum Industrial. And that's how we started with the electromechanical components when we bought Rörick as a rewinder of electrical motors. And then we have added with pneumatic hydraulics and now the latest acquisition also in gas. So fluid for us, we look into that. Water, air, gas, and so forth. Also oil, so hydraulics. Lubrication, industrial rubber. So a range of our value-adding services is of course logistic and administration. And that is kind of a core services that you need to have. The right product in the right place at the right time. And also administration to easy to buy, easy to sell. So logistic administration, get the product at the right time, but also get it at a low cost administration. We also sell for around 6-7 million training, education. So an education that is for free is nothing worth. We always get the customers to pay for the training. And then we added workshops with the refurbishment, electrical motors, manual service, refurbishment of bearings and manufacturing. And then also due to the fact to help with services to condition monitoring, inspection, mounting, and also field service. If you look at the strategic direction, of course we say that sustainable industry is very important. And it's very important in the Nordic. So for us, we like to have the best product, with long lifetime, low energy consumption. And at that, we can also sell on life cycle cost. So that's kind of the whole mission, vision, sustainability in our business concept. to help the customers to be more profitable. For example, if you take an electrical motor, you can go to a customer and the customer says, I can get this electrical motor for 10% less product price. I say, it doesn't matter, because it's the energy that is the life cycle cost of a motor. So if I can get you a more energy efficient motor, my motor is cheaper. So this is how we sell with education, training, and get the best product. And maybe some of you are familiar with the Bergman and Beving companies. Of course, we have the same. We don't have a financial target of top line growth. We like bottom line growth. So we work with EBITDA growth 15% or more. And if we do 15% 5 years in a row, everything alike, we will double our earnings. And everything alike, we will double also the share value. But to do this, of course, we need to grow top line. But we need to have profitable growth. That's why we have these metrics. And the profitability or super financial is EBITDA through working capital. So it's 3 parameters from the profit and loss statement and 3 parameters from the balance sheet. And from the balance sheet is account payables, account receivables, and also, of course, the stock value. And the relation about that should be above 45%. And I often ask, why 45? Why not 70? No, because the logic behind above 45 is 1/3 you have to pay tax, 1/3 dividend, and 1/3 reinvest. And that's also why we have this dividend goal of 30%. And I think the suggestion now is 1 krona, and that's 37% this year in May. So what we have worked with for 20 years is industrial improvements. And that is what I mentioned about the electrical motor. How can we prove for the customer that our products are the best in the market? So what we did in the beginning was improved economy. So we did the economy calculation, the life cycle cost for the customers. Now we just added last year with also the CO2 impact and the working environment. So this year in all our companies, we're going into industrial improvements in these 3 areas, and hopefully we can document in all 3, 1, 2. But this, we have now set the goals for the CO2 impact of how we calculate in the industrial improvements. So, our desired position. We have 3 areas we work with. Of course, the aftermarket sales, and that's Momentum Industrial, which is a large part of our earnings today, which also bought Loctech the other week. Then we have the specialists, the product verticals, and that's, if you remember the slide with the products I showed you. Here, we saw that it's a big opportunity to also have specialist companies, because then we can both sell MRO, OEM, and be more and more specialists. So we have acquired ETAB in hydraulics, Öbergs pneumatics, and so forth on. We also added BPS. That's a new product vertical for us, is valves for water. And then we have the technical service business, which I told you also is around 50% components. So it goes like this. If you get in a motor to refurbish and you can't refurbish it, they ask you to sell a new one. So that's the logic behind the services. The service is also a mean to sell products. So that's how we work in this, and we also have inspection and measurement. So, of course, we are a new company, but of course we have done acquisitions for a long time. As I mentioned, Momentum Industrial, we started with 13, we have 30 locations. So some is organic and some is acquired growth. And during the period of time before the listing, we bought SKF Spindle Service, for example, an asset deal. We bought Brammer, their Swedish locations, also an asset deal. And we bought Assembly in here. Assembly is actually old Nea Verkstad. So if we take Rörik and we take Nea, then Assembly, we are the only one in the Nordic, except for ABB Service in Stovik, who can take big objects to renovate, like generators. So the latest acquisitions here, and I think if we look at this picture, last year we added 175 million in acquisitions in turnover, and this year so far 45 million. So I said we don't have a top-line goal, but to get the bottom-line growth, we also need to add acquisition and grow organically. And for us, how to create long-term value, we believe in a very decentralized structure. So we don't buy companies and redo them or integrate them. For the most, we help, and you're responsible, you're closest to the customer, you know the customer's voice, and you stay. So we help them with that. So decentralized responsibility is the heart and soul of our business, but also the willingness to improve. I also say better than yesterday. We don't have to take the big steps, the big leaps, but to better than yesterday. We be that every day, then we evolve. So it's evolution, not revolution. And then simplicity. If you work in a decentralized structure, you can't be complicated. It has to be easy to be in this structure. Then the mind and soul. But of course, we like to have business development, but that is through decentralization and employee development. But we like to be an active owner, of course. So of course, we are in the business to be close to them. And then the growth, not just organic, also through acquisitions. But decentralized responsibility is very easy to say. But how do we do it? Decentralization for me is very easy. It's like Jeopardy. You ask the question, but they have the answers. That's how you lead. You lead by questions. Not lead by, if I were you, maybe I would do like this. That's not decentralization. That's centralization. So the businesses we like to acquire, this is very important for us, because if we should work with decentralization, you have to have committed and proven management. They have to have a strong focus and a strong technical expertise in what they're doing. And they also should have the idea of being the customer's best choice. And also the soul, of course. They would like to stay on and take the responsibility for the development of their business. Many times it's family business that has been in the family for many, many years. So bottom line, we're actually not that complicated. Simplicity is very important. So we acquire, we develop, we build culture. People grow, the business will grow. Because this is a people management business we are working in. And new for us, of course, we're financially strong. We have room for acquisitions. We have owners who want to grow. We have industrial network. Myself has been in the business for 26 years, and I have a lot of friends who's working with me, also been in the business for a long time. So we have the network and the legwork to meet companies all over the Nordic. And we have the processes and resources to do it. We have a proven onboarding model, and we have competence in the field. And now my CFO is not here today, but it's Niklas Enmark. He worked for Lagercrantz for many, many years in head of M&A, and he's also head of M&A for us. So, and then we have Johan Sjö as the chairman of the board, who led Adtech for many, many years. So we have a competence in all areas. And we have a cash flow. As you remember, EBITDA through working capital is very important for us, because that's how we like to finance the acquisitions. And we have a facility of 800 million, 3 + 1 + 1 year. We have the internal resources. Today, we are around 10 people who's working with acquisitions in various forms. So I just checked it, and I also always get the question, yeah, what's your net debt EBITDA target? We don't really have one, but I can say today it's 0.2. So it's room. And it could be around 2 or 3 during a period of time. So I don't think the finance is not the narrow sector in this business. For us, it's legwork and to be out there. And as I mentioned, we've been listed now for 11 months. So of course, the spin-off takes time. So it takes like 4 or 5 months to do. It's a lot of work of just doing all the formalia pieces. And then we get head off in March to really do the legwork and build up the organization. So today, our organization in these 3 areas, in the MRO business, we have Momentum Industrial, and they have their team of doing acquisitions. In the specialist, I have hired one guy, actually my former boss, who hired me at SKF. And then he ran a company that he sold to Adtech a couple of years ago, and then I got him aboard. So he's running the specialist division together with another consultants that I took in. So that's a team of 2. And in the technical service area, I have Ola, who was the owner of Mekano, which we bought. And then also Göran as the CFO, who worked for Marcus together with Anders before. So we have put the team together and building the organization as we go on. So hopefully we will have more divisions coming on and more people with acquisitions. And also, of course, it's not just acquisition, it's also to take care of the acquisitions. Because it's not when you sign the paper, that's not the end line, that's the starting line to work with the business. So the onboarding model and have time for the new companies is very, very important for us. So that's the Momentum Group in short time.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to some questions.
Yes.
So you obviously make quite a few acquisitions within the company. Could you tell us a bit about what you look for when you make acquisitions?
First of all, we have Nordic components and services in selected product verticals and service verticals, which we have identified. And then from that, like the BPS, we bought the industrial valves into water. Then we talk to him and say, what good companies should we buy? Which are yours? So it's kind of how we work with the network. So it's very niche-oriented, but then also we look more for bilateral discussions.
All right. Could you provide us with a bit of an outlook going into 2023? What can we expect?
I don't know. For what? For economy? For us?
For the company.
For the company. Now, of course, we are not blind. I mean, as you can see and read, you can see it's still good pace in the industry. But of course, the inflation of salary, the inflation of the premises, I mean, it has not hit the books yet. It will run in. And what everyone is saying is that it should be a slow downturn, and then in 2024 it should be a recession. But who knows? Who knows?
Yes.
So what we do, we go ahead. Of course, we're a little bit cautious to know. I mean, we are aware of the situation around us, but we will not let that reflect our business of doing things. But of course, we have contingency plans in every business if something happens.
Yes.
But
and what do you think regarding the cyclicality in your group of companies? Do you feel diversified between the companies, or do you think that there is quite some sensitivity?
No, it's diversified, but due to the fact we are more aftermarket sales, due to the big Momentum Industrial. So last downturn in 2008, 2009, we had April to end of March as a revenue year. At that time, they told us at that time to do contingency plans to lose 25% of your revenue. So I remember we sat down in a basement and I asked my CFO, okay, if we should do that, how many branches do we have to close? And he said, you have to close 10. I said, 10 of 25? It's not possible. If you close a branch locally, you can never be there again. So that's, okay, how much can we lose if we don't close any branch? And he said, 10%. First month, 25. Second month, 50. Jesus. But we ended up minus 9%. So as long as the production is going on, you need spare parts. You need service. But if you close a factory, then we go away. So today, mostly of our business is the MRO, the aftermarket business. Of course, with the new companies, a more flavor of OEM is going into our run rate. And we could see that a little bit in Denmark, where we bought a company that has a larger part of OEM sales. So we have seen that a little bit there already.
All right. You say you're active in the Nordics. What does the distribution between the Nordic countries look like for the company?
Today, predominantly, we are in Sweden.
Yeah.
We have Momentum has 2 and soon 3 branches in Norway. And of course, we're looking to go into Finland as well. In Denmark, we have two companies.
But you are looking into acquisitions
Yes,
in
yes,
those
yes.
countries as well. Yes. All right.
Definitely.
If
But also due to Corona, during the period of time we decided to do the spin-off, it was kind of very hard to travel. So that's why we did acquisition in Denmark, because it was easy for me to go over the bridge. That's the only reason.
Sounds like a good plan. All right. If we zoom out a bit and look a couple of years into the future, what are your goals? Is there anything you want to work on?
No, but if we look at our target to have an EBITA growth of 15%, I mean, in 5 years we should be double earnings, but we need to be double in revenue as well. So I was doing my math on my own, and I said, okay, if I should build this up to 10 billion as I did with the other 2 businesses, it would take 15 years. I don't think we have that time. So of course we are aiming is also say above 15%. And of course we are new, so in the beginning I think it could be a little bit quicker, but then as you grow, then you have to decide if we go 10 billion again, then it's time for another spin-off. Because we believe focus is the most important thing. Because if we say also the people business is the most important thing. If you grow too big, you lose the touch. So our goals is to double, of course, but and hopefully less in 5 years.
That does sound like a good goal. So this 15% EBITDA growth target, do you have any thoughts regarding what part of this could be organic and what will need to be acquired?
Yeah, no. If you look at the production index back and forth, you could say that organic around 5%. If you don't really take market shares. So, but I think you should expect around 5 something in general, and then of course we have to add acquisitions. It's very important for us to grow.
Thank you very much. I think that's all from me.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.